Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. I know it's not Halloween. Alright, that's long past. But when it came to my Halloween videos, I ran out of time and I couldn't upload everything I wanted to. So that's why I'm uploading them past Halloween. But if you stop and look at it like this, at some point in time, it's gonna be Halloween time again, October. So somebody eventually will stumble upon my videos and watch it around Halloween time. So yeah, and I'm here today to talk to you about 2017 It Chapter 1 and 2019 It Chapter 2. I swear to God, these movies are masterpieces. And I rarely use the phrase, or the word I should say, masterpiece. But my God, when I say these movies are amazing, I could not believe it. See, originally years ago, like many other people, I watched the TV miniseries It. And I never particularly liked that. The PG-13 rating just didn't do it justice. And there was just so many confusing elements to it that just seemed very watered down. You know, they did their best because it was a TV movie. You know, they weren't allowed to have an R rating. They weren't allowed to go there. But my God, many years later, oh, they went there all right. And they went there in a big way. Andy Muschietti, dude, like this man created a movie, not just a movie, but a movie. Like, you know, the two parts of this, thank God they gave it two parts, because originally WB wanted this to be a single movie. This man sculpted gold from like his fingertips. He had that Midas touch. I said had because, well, even though I have not seen the Flash movie, I have seen clips. And my God, they all look terrible. I don't understand how this man fell from grace. But hopefully he can redeem himself with the Batman Brave and the Bold. And so, but with this movie, it's like you truly feel like this is real. You feel the emphasis of what fear is when you are a kid. And we've all been there in many different things, like what scares a person, you know? And the great thing about like Stephen King's novel, which hands down to Stephen King, man, he is one of the best of the best, even though R.L. Stine has sold more copies of his books and stuff. But Stephen King does make masterful like novels. I've seen a couple of his adaptations on like movies and stuff like that and a television series, and they're always good. I'm about to watch his Pet Sematary movie from back in the day. Well, not really his, you know, somebody else directed it, but you know, from his novel and stuff, because I saw the remake. The remake was cool, but I did not like Bloodlines. And you know, like, it's amazing. This dude wrote these when he was high. I hope to God the kid orgy scene, I hope he was high doing that. Because if he was clean and sober, ew. Just ew, man. Ew. But Andy Muschietti really, you know, embraced what Stephen King did and brought that vision to like life in his own way. Like, it's an adaptation, so it's not like a 100% faithful adaptation. He made changes here and there, but like, you know, it's still a whole lot better than what the original directors wanted to do, because he is the third director to come in. And you know, when you hear about what the other two directors did, it's kind of like, dude, what were y'all smoking? Like, seriously, man, I don't get it. I'm not even sure how to say his name. David Kajminch, or something like that. I don't know. But his original screenplay leaked online, and it is dreadful. It is dreadful. It is dreadful. But basically, him and Warner Bros. Couldn't come to some kind of agreement. They wanted to make it into a single movie. And yeah, so he was out. And thank God he was out. No offense to him, but thank God he was out. But my God, the other dude, whew, what is his name? Not sure how to pronounce his name. It might be Kerry Jolie Fukunaga. He went in a completely different direction to the point where most people couldn't even like recognize what was going on in the movie, and he wanted to keep the orgy scene. And I'm just like, dude, no, that's nasty. They're kids. Like, what in the world are you thinking? I don't care if Stephen King wrote that. I'm hoping to God he was high when he wrote that. But, like, why would you keep that nasty part in the movie? Thank God Andy took it out. Now, one of the original actresses, Annette O'Toole, who was the mom in Smallville, and she was also in the Superman movie, the second one, she starred in the original miniseries It as the adult like Beverly Marsh. And well, ew, Annette, ew. She wanted to keep the orgy in the movie because I remember they were kids. And she said, you know, this was a gift to like the boys because they thought they was gonna die, and it was a way for them to become more attached to each other and strengthen their bonds and everything. No, 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 no. They were kids, man. I don't care they thought they was gonna die or not. That's just nasty and gross. Like why? Why do all these Smallville like stars? Why do they fall down that the rabbit hole? Like I just don't understand. Like what is up with that like Smallville curse that's going around? Like first it's the dad who played Clark's dad, and he's a disgusting man. The dude who played Pete, he's a disgusting dude. Chloe, she's disgusting. And now like the mom is just gross. Life. Why would you do that? Like, why? Why would you do something so stupid? Like, why? What's with these Smallville actors, man? Like, it's just like four of them are terrible, and everybody else is cool, but the rest are terrible. And now Annette just made that weird comment about like the orgy thing. I'm just like, no, nobody wants to see that on screen. Nobody wants to see that on screen except for men who, or men and women who have ankle monitors on like on them or are currently in jail and stuff. But don't nobody want to see that crap. Nobody wants to see that crap. And well, back to like, the movie. So, Andy took a hold of it. And the CGI was really, really good in this movie. Like, there are times it looks so realistic, like that spider scene and everything. I was shocked and amazed, but not every CGI in the movie is great. The old lady was kind of off, but she was funny the way she walked and everything. Like when she ran across like the door arch and everything, it was just funny how she ran. But that scene was bad CGI. Another woman was bad CGI. I think that was pretty much the only really bad parts, but everything else was pretty good. But sometimes when Pennywise's head got a little big, it looked kind of weird, but it still looked good. But the CGI was always on point, and it had to be. Because, if the CGI is bad like it was in the Flash movie, then people are going to complain and talk. Seriously, Andy, what the world did you do in the Flash movie? How did he go from grace to falling from grace? I don't understand that. And they were both from the WB, and they both had a high budget, so I don't understand that. But speaking of a budget, this is the third highest ranking R-rated movie and stuff. And a lot of people prefer the first movie to the second movie, but I think both of them are really well. And the people they cast in this, man, do like an amazing job with what they're given. That was one of the problems I had with the original, like, It movies, that not everybody was cast right in that movie, but they are still iconic in other roles that they play. But the young cast in this movie, Hands down, they were so believable as kids, and letting them cuss felt more realistic, something a lot of young kids do nowadays and did in the past. The older cast looked so much like the younger cast. It blew my mind. I'm all like, are y'all related? Because that's one thing about the original movie series, the television one. The adults didn't look like the kids. But not only do the adults look like the kids here, they act like them as well. Except for a few of them. There's three of them that kind of don't. Only because two of their characters evolved, and one, I'm just not feeling it. You can probably guess who that one is. And everything. But like everybody, else, like, James McAvoy and everything, he acted just like, an older Billy and everything. But like, seriously, when it came to like wait, I'm getting the names mixed up. Bill. No, Ben. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Bill. Yeah, wait a minute. But the older Ben, I remember that dude from a couple of stuff. He's a New Zealand actor. He didn't act like his younger counterpart, but there's a reason for it. His older version is more confident, more braver and everything. He isn't as shy, so that makes sense. Mike's character is more intuitive. He's more logical, and stuff like that. He's not as scared as he used to be, so that makes sense. But then there is the actress who played Beverly. Looks great and everything, but she didn't really act like Beverly. She needed more bite to her character because she played her a little bit too soft spoken and stuff like that. But maybe that was on purpose because Beverly is in an abusive relationship and everything. But you know what? Wait, the thing about the movie, is that Stephen King was genius to make this where this originally happened to them when they was kids and then later on when they're adults. But the best thing about it is when they are kids, which I understand why people like the first movie a bit more. It's more believable to have a young kid who, because the thing about it is that they're innocent, they're young, they carefree, they don't have no responsibilities, and in creeps a monster. And not only is it a monster, but it's a terrifying one at that. That plays on their fear. Fear is the greatest character of all in this movie, and it's literally an emotion. And the thing about fear is that it is hard to conquer and everything. And it can live with you for the rest of your life if you're not brave enough to conquer it. And that's what I love about the first movie, is that all these kids will have their own individual problems, but then on top of that, there is a clown that wants to kill them and everything. And I love how, like, because Stephen King could have just made these as regular kids with no good backstories, but he gave them good juice, something good and bite into that the audience really related to with these characters, or they felt sympathetic for them. You have Beverly, who's in an abusive relationship with her father and everything, who hates her guts because of what happened to, like, the mom and everything. Plus, there's rumors that she messes around with boys and everything. You have Bill, who cannot escape the fact that he blames himself for Georgie's murder. Georgie went missing because he didn't want to go outside and play. And next thing you know, he went missing and got ate up. And Bill, that has haunted that dude since he regained his memories as an adult and everything. Like, to blame yourself for somebody's disappearance and murder is a death sentence all on its own. Ben is like, the new kid who's like overweight, and he gets picked on because of his weight. And the kids are pretty mean. But then, once you make those group of friends, it eases that pain and everything. Mike is basically an orphan who lives with his grandfather because he lives in a racist town, and a lot of the racist people burnt down his family's home. And, he has to deal with this crap, growing up in a very white community, with this hatred and everything. And I'm glad they didn't go the extreme racist route of using the N word in this movie and stuff. I'm not sure if the original one had it or not. And Eddie, oh my god, dude, Eddie is my favorite character as a kid. His foul mouth, fast talking, pace self cracks me up. And he has a mom who smothers him and won't let him basically go out and play and everything. She basically, like, she makes him into a mama's boy, and he doesn't want to be that because she lies to him about his health conditions, giving him placebos and everything. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that one girl who was abused by her mom, taking all these medications and stuff for a fake illness she never had, and but then it goes down a darker route, which I don't want to get into. Anyway, but that's basically who the Eddie character is. His mom is terrible and tries to keep him confined in the house because she doesn't want nothing to happen to him. So she thinks if she lies to him, that will help. Who's that other kid's name? Is it Stan? I think it's Stan. Let's see. It's Bill, it's Georgie, is Eddie, Richie. That's it. Richie. And so, like, Richie, man, he Richie is my second best favorite character, man. That dude is so foul mouthed and so geeky, but when he picked up that baseball bat, he's all like, "Welcome to the Losers Club." Boy, that really got me. But Andy decided to change up that of like Richie and everything. He made him secretly gay because he said that's the way he interpreted it. Which, Steven said he didn't care because Adrian was gay in like the second part and got beat up and picked on because of that. And, I've never read the book, so I don't know how Richie is in that. But I never really saw him as like, being that way. But like in the original like movie. But they were never gonna do that in the original movie because it was the 90s and they didn't even have Adrian in there because, he was gay. And so, but like, Eddie and like, Richie, man, they're like the coolest characters in the movie, but is Richie does have a secret crush on Eddie. Then there is Stan, who is the most fearful, the most scared of all and everything. He's just this nice little Jewish kid and everything. He just wants to have a nice summer, but his friends want to go around and like, look for a monster and everything. And he doesn't want to do none of that stuff. And it's so heartbreaking to find out what happens to him as an adult because fear got the best of him. He could not conquer it. And I mean, hey, they are the loser club after all. And honest to God, man, like people always want to be the popular kids at school, you know what I'm saying? But those geeky kids, those nerdy kids, honest to God, like they actually have a whole lot more fun than like popular kids. And 'cause, popular kids are either like, they play sports or they go drinking or they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. But the great thing about being nerdy and geeky is that you get to have like all these cool discussions about like shows you get to watch and like all these little like, in head like adventures and stuff like that. You get to create things of your own. And honest to God, man, if I had to like pick between like the cool kids or the loser club, I would pick the loser club because anybody who's ever been a geek or a nerd always had that one group of friends and they was just like, had just as much as fun and was rowdiness as like the popular kids. And, the great thing about this group is that they just accept people for who they are. The new kid, Ben, who's like, overweight and everything. They saw him getting picked on by Eddie Bowers and like, they helped save his behind. And then Mike, he was being tormented by Eddie and stuff, and they legit helped that dude out by just throwing rocks at Eddie. And I liked it more here in this movie than the original, because in the original, whenever Mike ran from them, and then they all just started picking up rocks and throwing it didn't feel realistic or believable. It just felt like, okay, kids, now pick up the rocks and not start throwing like somebody told them to, you know? But here you really felt that. And you see Eddie is just like a little crybaby punk. Speaking of which, Eddie Bowers in this movie is legit psychotic. Like, this boy is crazy. And the fact that Pennywise would see, like, you know, himself in him and everything was the perfect target. But Eddie's whole purpose is just to torment people who are not like him, people who are nerdy, geeky, and stuff like that. And, you know, it's always the little people who always get picked on. And when it comes to Eddie, he gets picked on by his father. Because the thing about bullies is that they act like they're so big and tough, but there's always that one person they're terrified of, and it's normally a parent. In Eddie's case, it's his dad. And when Pennywise start twisting his mind, and like, you know, he just straight up kills his father and everything. And then this dude legit tries to kill members of like the loser club. He's like, you know, carving like, you know, words onto like Ben's like flesh. And then he legit tries to like, you know, wants to murder that of Mike only because he's black. And I like how, like, you know, he is later on defeated in the first movie, and he gets put like in juvie and then in an insane asylum. And the thing is, like, when it comes to the Losers Club, you know, they're just friends who wants to hang out, but then they start seeing all these strange things happening in town that is scaring the piss out of them. And I love how it's all set up, how individually they're all getting tormented, and you see like the red balloons. Like in the original, it was just regular colored balloons. And here it's just this ominous red. And red is normally like a danger warning sign. And sometimes it's like demonic. And here it's very demonic. And you know, for a little kid to see this, like red balloons, they're just kind of like it's supposed to like draw them in, but it's also weird to them. And then enters Pennywise. I love this Renaissance, like medieval type look they gave him. As opposed to just looking like a regular clown. He looks like a clown from back centuries ago. His hair is weird, his head is big. And you know, like I like Tim Curry in the role of it in the original. But Bill Skarsgård, man, that man could play the Joker. Like he had this really weird way of how he talked and how he acted and his mannerism, because he is the dancing clown and all. And I love how he's depicted in so many different ways to scare the crap out of the kids. And you know, clowns are terrifying to some people. Not me, but other people it is. And so it would be really sucky if like you're scared of clowns and then all of a sudden here comes the manifestation of fear and evil in the form of a clown. And so, you know, I love how like Bill is like the leader, and he's going to defeat this thing one way or another, and if his friends help him or not. And it's like, you know, at one point they don't want to, and at one point they do. And I love how they realize that, look, man, only together can we defeat this monster, because, you know, strengthen numbers and, you know, to conquer the fear and encourage each other and to help fight and all this other stuff. And it's a pretty cool battle for little kids to go through, man. And I love the way this is like filmed and choreographed and stuff. And like the little trick door, talking about scary, not so scary, very scary. It don't matter which door you go to, you just screwed out of way. And I love how it repeats itself in like the second movie. But you know, there is a rift between them, because after their first encounter, they split up. And we don't know exactly what the heck happened when they split up. But then we find out in the second movie, which I really appreciated, they like did that. And it showed that no matter what, they realized individually they would never be able to stop this thing. So they all band together and I mean, they're losers, they're nerds, they're geeks, they're outcasts, and here they are fighting this monster, man. And nobody wants to believe them because they're kids. That is the perfect thing Stephen King did. Who's gonna want to believe a kid? And so they assume they defeated him, which I gotta give it up to, like, was it Eddie or was it the other one? Richie, no, Richie. When, like, Pennywise was threatening Bill. I was like, look, man, I'll let y'all go. Just give me Bill and everything. And he's all like, welcome to the Losers Club with that baseball bat. I'm like, oh, man, that was like a great moment. And, they all banded together. Because the thing about being scared is that once you see somebody be courageous, then you start to get courageous yourself. So they all picked up a weapon and started whacking the crap out of him. And they assumed they defeated him. But as we all know, that didn't happen. And after the research, thanks to Ben, they realized that every 27 years, this thing comes back. And some of them don't really care because they're like, look, man, I'll be old by then. Like, who cares? But it's Bill who kept them together and made that blood pact. And, of course, we get into the second movie. And just like with real life, once you get older, you don't always stay friends with your friends. You move on. Sometimes you move away from, like, your hometown. Sometimes you don't. And you tend to forget what happened to you growing up as a child. I mean, can you honestly remember much of what happened in your childhood? I remember a little vague stuff here and there, but only when, like, certain bad stuff that would happen, Never too much of anything that was good. And this is the cool, like, thing that Stephen King did, instead of just regular people forgetting, it's now a curse and everything. And so the Loser Club has literally forgotten their childhood except for two. Mike, who has remained in town, and Ben, who's holding on to the love of like Beverly, And so I will say some of the visuals when the fear, like, CGI and stuff, wasn't as cool as it was in the first. Like, the whole blood thing in the bathroom, that was just insane, man. That was like Evil Dead, like, levels of, like, creepiness and stuff. And the fact that they was the only ones that were able to see it and they had to, like, help her clean it up, they're a group and everything. And here you kind of get that a little bit, but not really. It's just mostly now it's Mike bringing the band back together. Once they all get that call, they don't even remember who he is because of the curse. But then they slowly start to remember, and they remember because of the blood pact and everything. Their blood is, like, literally linked to each other. And so they slowly start to remember who they are, and they don't want to go back. Because, like, they don't want to, like, fight this monster, but they assume he's just there to, like, bring them back and, like, hang out and, crap like that. And it's weird to forget everything about your childhood, and as soon as you head back in that town, everything starts to rush back to them. But Stan, sadly, he knows exactly what's gonna happen. Because I think with Stan, he's probably like the third one who also remembered, because, like, that's why he took his own life. And it was so sad to see him do that. But then we find out why he took his life. And it's because, he knew that if they worked together, they could defeat it. But if one person stays scared, that's never going to happen. So he took himself out the equation. And that was so sad. Like, he could not conquer his fear. Because out of all the group members, he was the most scared of them all. And so when they do head back to town, it's kind of cool to see what they do in their adult lives. Like, Bill, he's a writer who can't finish the endings, a nod to Stephen King. He's married. His wife does not show up at the end, taken by Pennywise, like it is in the original in the book. They took that out. And I'm kind of glad they did, because I've always thought that was a weird thing. And so, like, what is it? Like, Richie, he's a stand-up comedian. I think Eddie's like accountant or something like that. And Beverly, I don't really know what she does. She just lives with a man who's really rich and famous, and she's in an abusive relationship. Sadly, she doesn't remember all the crap she went through with her father, and then she ended up literally marrying somebody who's worse than him and everything. And I like how she fought her way out of that, you know. And I forget what Ben does, but he's like really rich and stuff. And so when they all head back, you know, they're at the like Chinese restaurant, and then all of a sudden they don't really remember why they all heading out, but they just here to like have a reunion until the creepiness starts coming, and then they realize, oh, Mike lied to them. He knows about the whole Pennywise thing. So, and it's sad because they literally want to leave and everything. They don't want to have to deal with it until Pennywise starts to like corrupt their mind and start scaring the crap out of them. I forgot to mention like the whole Adrian thing in the beginning of the movie. Him and his like boyfriend are attacked by a bunch of homophobes and everything. And then one of them is attacked by Pennywise. Why exactly Pennywise went after him, I'm not really sure. But the thing about Pennywise is that, yeah, he's evil, but think about it. He's only doing what's coming naturally to him, like to eat, to survive, and he eats people for whatever bizarre reason. And he scares the crap out of them because supposedly animals that are like in cages and like, you know, farms and stuff like that, they taste better if they're scared. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that. And so like, you know, once like he frees like Bowers and like, you know, and Bowers literally tries to kill them again. I love how Eddie takes him out and everything. But it's like, you know, the second movie, while good, I understand like the pacing of it all, but that's just how it is in like the book and crap, man. It's just like they don't want to be there, they don't want to deal with this, they want to go home. But it's only and it's weird because Pennywise is the one who again brought them together, and so like, you know, if he didn't do that, they would have left and forgot about everything, and then he just probably went after like Mike or something. But of course, this Mike and this Bill, who are, you know, it's weird. The whole Mike and Bill thing, there was more of a connection. They were older than the original, them riding bikes and, you know, talking about Hi Ho Silver away or whatever and crap like that. And not only that, but like him finding his old bike in this rebooted movie, it didn't feel I didn't feel nothing from it like I did in the original. In the original, you saw him constantly riding his bike, talking about Hi Ho Silver, and then when he was an adult and saw his bike, you know, he fell back in love with it because his memory started to flood back. Here, you rarely see him ride his bike. You never hear him say Hi Ho Silver when he's younger. And like, you know, when he's older, he does it. But to the general audience, they won't understand why he said that. So I really hate how they did that. But I love how Bill is once again being a protector. Once he sees Pennywise is trying to go after this boy in the same spot that Georgie got taken, he flips out and scares the crap out of this kid. But like, you know, he wants nothing to do but protect this kid. And he does it alone. And when the other ones start to like finally have the courage to fight Pennywise and they know Bill is gonna go by himself, then that's when they all join in. Oh yeah, also there's something with Mike and a turtle and some Native Americans and stuff. I'm not sure if that's in the book or not. I think it is. But anyways, I do hate how they treat Mike with the whole, oh, you lied to us, blah, 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 stuff like that. But it's kind of like, dude, you know, he might come after y'all again. So it's a good thing y'all have to get rid of him. Plus, he's gonna come after other kids. So, you know what I'm saying? And the sad thing was when Beverly forgot that like it was Ben that sent her that postcard thing. She thought it was Bill. It's always funny how she's always going to Bill and it makes like, you know, Ben jealous. But his jealousy could have been a whole lot more like it was in the original movie. I will say, yeah, in the second movie there are things that do drop the ball, and that is a shame. But I do like how a lot of the older cast do look like the younger cast and how they still act like the same as that way. Because like the dude who plays Eddie, my God, like they could be like twins but different ages. You know what I'm saying? And I really like how Jane McAvoy is that really like strong, bold, like leader. I forgot the dude is British and stuff. And it's cool seeing the Old Spice commercial dude in this. Like, he's also on Shadowhunters. And, Bill Hader, like, wow, man. I just, like, it's so great to see that, like, somebody can act from SNL. Because when a lot of people leave that, they can't adapt well to, like, movies or TV shows. Because they're best for, like, sketches and stuff. And so, after like, we get to see some flashbacks of what happened when they broke up and their individual adult, like, terror dreams and stuff like that. It's nice to see them down, below again, trying to fight Pennywise in his home. And it's really cool and monstrous. My only problem is when he turned into that giant spider, he still had his body in his normal head. Yeah, that's scary, but you know what was scary? That thing from the original movie. That thing was awesome. I still don't understand why he's a giant spider, though. That's also in the book. I don't understand that. But whatever. And, like, oh, poor Eddie, dude. Like, he had to die and stuff like that. But I know in the original one, they had, like, silver to kill him with, but they didn't have it here. I don't know if it's like that in the book. But they do use, like, taunting him and making him feel weak to make him smaller. And I love how they use their brains with that. Because it's kind of like, the best way to, like, conquer a bully is to give them low self-esteem. But whenever it happened in the original movie, them holding hands and all this other crap, I never felt nothing from that. But here I do with the chanting and everything else. And it's a really long battle that they have to go through. And I just love how it's filmed and everything, especially with the CGI and the gags and this and that. And then when he's finally defeated, they retain their memories. They're not gonna lose them no more. But but Richie is sad because the dude he loved like pretty much all his life is now dead. But he died a hero and stuff. And I don't know, that whole thing talking about this will kill monsters if you believe it. I don't know, that's always been weird to me. I just don't feel that, especially coming from adults. And I just don't know. And Jessica Chastain could have gave it some more oomph and some more grit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, her best part was in the bathroom. Like, that was a really good part. And so, yeah, like, it's cool to see them, like, reminisce and then like go their separate ways, and they're gonna keep in touch, and Mike finally gets to leave town, and Beverly and Ben are probably gonna do it and everything. And Bill will stop stuttering and stop blaming himself for Georgie's like death. And my God, man, like I said before, Stephen King, gotta give it up. Because what went on in his head when he was high was some genius, like just pure genius and everything. And I'm so glad they remade this movie because I never cared for the original television movie and stuff. But here with the CGI so much better and the storytelling so much better, and it being R-rated, and they get to use dirty words and all this other crap, and it's a whole lot longer. Now was the perfect time to make this remake and stuff. And honestly, I don't need another remake. Like, I really don't. Like, this was satisfying. I hope they never remake this, but they are making a prequel series. Welcome to Derry is going to start filming soon. Bill Skarsgård, for some bizarre reason, is not in this television series for some reason. At least so far it's been reported he's not. I don't know why. I am kind of curious to know what's going to happen in this series, because if there's no Pennywise, then what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Also, I'm curious to see how people are going to react to this and how they're going to address like racism in the show, because of the simple fact this is set in the past, and we know people of Derry are like racist, and the cast is majority black in the show. So I'm kind of curious to know, are they going to address the racism from the movie? Also, sadly, all them little toxic channels are gonna do their rounds, making millions of videos about the same thing about, oh, it's woke, because now the cast is black, and blah, 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 blah. But it's not the cast of the Losers Club, it's just people from 27 years ago and stuff, or even longer than that. It's like a prequel and everything. I think it's set in the 30s, I think, which, oh, God, that's really going to be racist. That wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.